All right, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the launch workshop. You can see I've got the microphone here. If you're going to ask any questions, just put your hand up. I need to give you the microphone so that you can speak into it so that the rest of the country can hear your question. Otherwise, I'm going to be repeating myself. Okay, so just to touch on again why we do these launch workshops, it is really just opportunity and very quick opportunity. Like I said, 30 minutes. Where I'm going to go over what you need to prioritize if you want to get stuck into this business really quickly. So if you really have aspirations about getting stuck in quickly, getting profitable as quickly as you can, well, then this is a great place to start. Even for experienced wealth engineers, when I say experienced, they become wealth engineers but never really engaged properly. This is also fairly valuable to them to get you started very quickly in the business. So to kind of give you an idea of how you engage in this process, we're going to go over 3 different aspects of the business. Number 1, understand how to earn. So there's some mechanics that you need to know, like how do we calculate how people get paid in this business. That's very important to know because people get fairly grumpy when they get paid less than what they thought they were going to get paid, right? So it's fairly important to understand. We're going to quickly go over the phone app. Like I say, the phone app is very valuable from the point of view that it allows you to assess yourself in this business all the time. And you have to be doing that all the time because at the end of the day, there's only one thing that matters, and that's results. And you need to know what those results look like so that you can always be making a decision on where do I need to improve, what am I doing wrong, what am I lacking, what am I thriving at. That is all reflected in the phone app. And then finally, to understanding expectation in the business. Everyone has got a different set of not circumstances, but aspirations. We all want to get to certain levels in this business in a certain amount of time. I want you to be very realistic about what you can expect in this business. There are far too many other businesses in this country that tell you can have certain things where it's absolutely impossible, right? We're not one of those businesses. We try to be as realistic as possible all the time so that we can meet expectation. We don't want to fall foul or short of expectation. So that's what we discuss finally. All right, so let's begin. How to earn. We've got what we call qualifying rules in the business. So it's 3 qualifying rules. These are just 3 simple questions we ask when we consider every single wealth engineer and how much we're going to be paying that wealth engineer. These are very transparent rules. You need to know these rules. You need to be able to tell people that join your channel what these rules are, again, so that we know what to expect when payday occurs. So the first rule, qualifying rule, is have you paid for your product? So in other words, are you an active wealth engineer? We sometimes get asked the question, I joined DuePoint, why did you debit my product before I started building? It's like, my friend, our business split in 2. We've got product side. You've taken a product, so you have insurance or investment, or you've got the wealth points product. You're going to be paying that for the rest of your life. So come to terms with that, right? The business side of our business is completely separate. It's a completely separate entity. It is the opportunity to start helping us grow our business, and we will pay you for that, right? The 2 are separate. And so the first question we ask is are you are you an active wealth engineer? Have you paid for your product? If your debit order has bounced, we stop right there, right? You're not earning anything. The second question is, are you a qualified wealth engineer? So we only pay qualified wealth engineers on the business side of the business. And a qualified wealth engineer is someone who has got 3 product-paying people on their first point, right? So to get started in this business, your first step is to find 3 people that become wealth engineers and pay for their product, right? We call you a qualified wealth engineer when that happens. So you know, if you were paying attention in the intro presentation, that we pay 55 Rand for every product on your first point, right? And so if you become qualified, you will be earning 165 Rand at the end of that month, minimum. We don't pay 110 Rand, we don't pay 55 Rand. You can't earn those amounts at DuePoint because we don't pay people for 1 person or 2 people. We only start at 3, right? And so that's the second question we ask. We ask, are you a qualified wealth engineer? And if you've got those 3 people, yes, you're a qualified wealth engineer, and you earn your 165 at the end of that month. But now your channel is certainly going to be growing beyond that, right? You want to earn obviously more than 165 Rand. And so you have this growth that will take place in your channel. So in this example, we've got someone on your first point, right? So we've got someone over there that has done a very good job. You always want to be finding people that grow, and this person's gone and found 3 people. They've become qualified in their own right. And your question would be at this stage, you know that you've got 6 people, product owners who have all paid for their product in your channel. You might assume that, well, I should be earning 330 Rand at the end of the month, right? The answer to that is no, you're not, because it goes back to our third qualifying question. And the third qualifying question is how many qualified wealth engineers, do you have on your first point? Because based on that is how many points we pay you on. If you've got 1 qualified wealth engineer, well, then you're not earning on your second point. If you've got 2 qualified wealth engineers, we will pay you on 2 points. If you've got 3 qualified wealth engineers, we will pay you on 3 points. If you've got a channel that's got 100 points, right? How many qualified wealth engineers do you need on your first point to earn all of that money? You need 100. Right? So the number always matches. The question is, how many qualified wealth engineers do you have on your first point? That informs us how many points we're going to pay you on. And so, how many qualified wealth engineers do you have in this example? You only have 1. And so you're not going to earn on your second point. Okay, well now you know, because you're familiar with your mobile app. Your mobile app will tell you, you're not earning money on your second point. You go, well, how do I do that? You go look at your first point. You go, I only have 1 qualified wealth engineer. I need a second qualified wealth engineer. And the moment you get a second qualified wealth engineer, that activates your second point, and now you're earning on your first and your second point, right? And those are the only 3 rules you have to know with regards to earning in our business. 3 simple qualifying rules. Have you paid for your product? Are you a qualified wealth engineer? How many qualified wealth engineers do you have, right? And so, as your channel starts to grow out, right, in the space of 2 years, we've got wealth engineers who have got 30 points in their businesses. If they wanted to earn off of all 30 points, they need 30 qualified wealth engineers on their first point. And so the lesson in understanding the rules of earning, right? And this is a wonderful lesson, because the lesson is, well, in actual fact, I don't need to know anything at DuePoint. If I only do 2 things at DuePoint, I'll succeed here at DuePoint. And those 2 things are, grow your first point, keep introducing people, and make sure that the people that you introduced are quality enough and supported enough that they become qualified in their own right. And you don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about anything else in your business. You only have to worry about growing this first point and making sure these people become qualified. Those are the only 2 things you need to do at DuePoint. You don't even need to know the rules. You don't need to know anything. If you just do those 2 things, everything will take care of itself. Literally everything, right? The lesson on top of that is, well, okay, these people that I bring in, I need to get them qualified. And so I just told you, find quality people. People have the resources to build a channel, right? And make sure that you support these people well enough so that they can grow. Right? So one of the first lessons is telling them how to get qualified. Right? The moment someone joins your first point, you say, I assume you want to start earning money as quickly as possible. And I go like, duh, yes, that's why I'm here. You go, right. The first thing you have to do if you want to earn money in this business is you have to actually become qualified. They'll be like, what's qualified? And then you explain to them what qualifying is. If you forego that little lesson when someone joins your business, they would have watched the intro presentation. They would have heard Rob saying we pay 55 Rand for every product. It might be at the end of the month. They would have connected maybe 1 person or 2 people, right? And that 1 person could have gone out and found 4 people before the end of the month. But because you didn't tell them that they had to become qualified, they're not going to earn anything. But their assumption would be, no, Rob said 55 Rand on my first and second point. At the end of the month, everyone gets paid except them. And they go, you know what, you freaking got me into a scheme. Right? One of these bloody scams that I got warned about constantly. All because you didn't explain to the person what the qualifying rules were. It is the first thing you have to explain to someone. Go onto our YouTube channel. This video is explained in 4 minutes. You need to know this well enough to explain it. Right? You're all going to forget it when you leave this room today. You're going to all argue amongst yourselves. The family over there, you'll argue about what the qualifying rules are. Go watch the YouTube channel. It'll take time to sink in, I promise you. Our training for our client service staff took a month before they got this right? So make sure you understand it. Go watch the video a few times. Okay, there we go. Example of a third qualified wealth engineer lit up the third point. Right now you're earning on your whole channel. Your app will tell you constantly. When you see red in your app, you know there needs some addressing. All right, so let's get on to the DuePoint app. Let's take a look. If you've got the DuePoint app loaded on your phone, bring it up now. You can go through this with me. If you load up your app, typically what happens is it brings up the notices straight away. So the notices are our little communication, our little notices of communication from head office. You'll get one typically every day of the week, as well as Saturdays, because we send you a shortcut link to the intro presentation that happens daily at DuePoint, right? So that's a Saturday notice that comes up. You just click on the little close button. There's a little close button there that'll disappear, and you can click back to go to the home page. So that's what the home page looks like. Lots of numbers. I don't know if that looks overwhelming to you as a new person or not. I think it looks fairly straightforward, but let's go through it. You can click on anything. So let me just get this out the way. You can click on anything. For the old people in the room, you're scared to click on buttons, right? I know the old people, they go, oh, I don't want to touch anything, I'm going to break it. You can't break it, right? Go crazy. You might add a new product by accident, but you can always cancel that with ease. Do not be scared to click on everything. Everything is clickable. Everything. You click on any number here, any line, name, button, you click on anything, it'll bring up new information. That's why kids learn technology so quickly, because they're not scared to break stuff, right? So go do that for yourself. Don't be scared to explore the app. Click on everything, see what happens. Let's go through it one by one. You can click on your name. So your name will always appear in the top left there. You click on that, it'll bring up your profile. That is what your channel is worth for the month, right? So you see it says this month. That's your channel value at that point. Then it's your rank in the rewards program. So as a brand new person, you don't have to worry about the rewards program yet. But that tells you what rank you're on. It tells you what little bit extra you need to get to the next rank, rank 7. And you can click on both those two things. Then you've got the menu. That's the menu. So we call it a burger, a hamburger menu, because it looks so much like a hamburger, right? No. It's called a hamburger menu, honestly. Just click on that. That'll bring up the whole menu. You'll see that shortly. That is the heading. So this tells you what page you're on, what view you're on in the app. We're looking at this month's qualified channel. Right? Then you've got the qualified channel. So this is your entire channel. So if you had a channel with 100 points, this is taking into consideration all 100 points of your qualified channel. Remember, we say qualified channel. You see it says qualified channel. It doesn't say channel. It says qualified channel, because that qualified channel is dependent on those 3 qualifying rules. Right? You could have 10,000 products in your channel, but not be qualified. And so your qualified channel will say zeros. It'll just have zeros, right? Because it's based on debit orders, and people put a lot of their debit orders at the end of the month, your qualifying criteria usually only gets populated towards the end of the month. So be aware of that. At the beginning of the month, it starts at 0, and you're like, oh, I'm worth nothing. It's just because your debit orders haven't gone off, right? So the more people pay, the more the numbers start to light up. So these are the numbers. So these are all the debit orders that happen. These 3 numbers here are the debit orders. So here, the first one in blue. Blue's always good. Successful debits. Those are all the people in your channel that have paid for their product, right? So that's good. It tells you what the value of your whole channel is. See, the 2 numbers reflect each other, right? Then it's got pending debits. It tells you we haven't debited these people yet, right? Their debit order dates are still coming up. So those are pending dates, and it gives you the value of that. So you can say, well, if all of those people paid, I'll have an extra 4,500 rand. Right? Then we've got failed debits. Like I said, red is bad. It's bad. You don't like red on your dashboard, right? But it's part of business. Negativity is a part of every business. You have to come to terms with this. All right? Do not be scared of the red. Just know the red is something that you can work on. Here we've got 199 failed debits in my whole business. That has cost me 3,800 rand. Right? It's just a part of business. Don't be too worried. Right? This number here is more important. This is called BPQ, Business Performance Quotient. It is a ratio of only your first and second point on your business. So if you've got a business that's 30 points, we only look at the first and second point, and we Work out the ratio of people who have paid versus the people who have failed their payments, right? That's why we call it a business performance quotient, because it tells you whether you're bringing in good quality or bad quality. Bad quality is someone whose debit order bounces. You don't want people whose debit order bounces. That tells you that you wasted 11% of your time in this business, right? You've got all these people that haven't done anything. And you really only have control over your first and second point. That's why we don't consider the other points, because that's out of your control. Your first and second point, you've got influence over. It is your behavior that has led to those failed debit orders. So you become a little more discerning. You go, gee, it's like, I didn't think, a person got a car and they got a job. Why didn't they pay for their debit order, right? It just allows you to be more discerning in who you're connecting. You'll start to become a little more, I don't want to say discerning, but you're going to become a little more picky about who you let into your business, right? Because this depresses you, man. It does. It depresses you, unfortunately. And then the last two numbers are applications. It's not debit orders, applications. How many people signed up to become wealth engineers? How many people have lapsed or been cancelled out of the DuePoint business, right? So if someone doesn't pay for their debit order 2 months in a row, we send them to the pastures. Some people will phone in and cancel their products. New wealth engineers, well, that's obvious. Okay, so click on everything. You can click on everything. Let's go into a little more depth. If you click on qualified channel, you can actually break it down into every point in your business. See, now I'm behind. So let's go there. Then at the bottom, I nearly skipped the bottom. So at the bottom, if you can see the bottom there, those are the tabs. So we've got a channel tab, events, rewards. Events are all the upcoming events that we have. So it's list of 8 intro presentations every week. It's a dev seminar once a month. It's the special intro presentations called Tell-All Tuesday, which, by the way, is this Tuesday. Tell-All Tuesday is this Tuesday. Throwdown Thursday happens once a month. So any special events, our encounter that we're doing in Cape Town shortly, that'll all be listed under events. Rewards, that's the rewards program, reflected by your rank over there. The rewards program, rank 9 is lying in the rewards program with the holiday. The car is in the rewards program. That tells you everything about rewards, where you are, what you get, how you earn XP, all those quests that are available. And then you've got the Add Wealth Engineer button. That's a button you want to wear out as much as possible. You want to be clicking Add Wealth Engineer, right? Your thumb should start getting an ache. Start wearing the glass down, that area of your app. That's the button, that's the money button, the Add Wealth Engineer button. That just brings up the application form. All right. Then we've got tools. Tools where all our videos reside, all the training that we do. If you click tools, you'll see all the list of videos. Categories, again, we'll look at that in a little more detail. So those are the tabs at the bottom. Now, if you clicked on this button at the top, Qualified Channel, it allows you to dig deeper into your channel. It shows you a split of your business according to every point, right? The first point is the most important because you don't really have control over that. It's nice to see how much value you got in the rest of your business per point, but you don't have influence over that. And so clicking on, point 3 downwards is not going to really help you too much. What you want to be doing is be very focused on what's happening on your first and second point. Why? Because your first and second point define whether you have qualified wealth engineers or not. And qualified wealth engineers define how much of your business is a qualified channel or an unqualified channel. See, red is not good. Look here, from point 6 all the way down to point 11, this person is losing income here because this is part of their unqualified channel, right? So it should tell you, well, what do I need to do to open up all of this? Well, you need another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 qualified wealth engineers on your first point to unlock that business. And so you will look at that and go, right, you're not going to go look at those points. You're going to look at the first point, right? You look at the first point and go, my first point. What's happening on first point? Well, I've got 20 successful debits. That's good. I've still got 4 people that are going to be paying their debits, but I've got 1 failed. What happens if that person who failed their debit order was one of your qualified wealth engineers? They just cost you an entire point in your business, right? And so we have to become experts of this app because the app tells you so much. It tells you how to run the business. So you click on the first point and then you see these little arrows here. It means you can actually click on that and it'll give you a drop down of everyone who paid their debit. It'll give you a drop down of the people still waiting, and it'll give you a drop down of the person who failed their debit order. So you can go, that's Charlie. Click on Charlie. His number will come up and you phone him. You go, dude, What's going on? Why didn't you pay your product? I got retrenched. Whatever the reason, right? But it allows you to become more discerning, because more often than not, those people that didn't pay the debit order, they didn't really have serious belief in the business. They didn't. You didn't engage with them enough to impress upon them what DuePoint could do. Because if I said to everybody, if I could convince a person that DuePoint can change their life, do you think they would let the debit order bounce and be like completely disenfranchised from the business? They wouldn't, right? And so take that upon yourself. Take that upon yourself. Look, you might have signed someone in who's dirt broke, that doesn't have a job, doesn't have money. Well, then you sign the wrong person in, right? Because that person doesn't have the resources to begin with. But if the person has the resources to begin with, and they reverse their debit order, or they cancel, or their debit order even bounces, well, then that's on you. You should have done a better job in connecting and bringing that person in so that they can understand the power of what DuePoint can do for them. Because that's what we're trying to do all the time, is allowing people to understand the potential of the business. So if you click on your name in the top left corner, that's what your profile page looks like. This little blank thing here should be your photo. Click on it, it'll bring up your camera so you can take a selfie. I know everyone loves a good selfie, the younger people here, selfies 10 times a day. Take a selfie with your DuePoint app, you get 1,000 XP for taking a selfie, right? That gets you halfway to rank 1, just like that. That's why I say 1,000 XP you can do in 30 seconds, right? Because you're never happy with the first selfie. You want to take another 40 before you're happy with the angle on your face and the lighting and all of that. We know how the millennials are. So do that. And there's your name, the province, your returns value, your qualified channel size. It tells you how much XP you have, your BPQ. So there's a bit of information on your profile itself. If you click on tools, this is what the video looks like. Again, there's a drop-down menu over here. You can click on that. We've got specific shorts. So there's shorts. There's the basic series, which is for new people. Go watch that training. So if you are new to this business, go watch the training. Watch the training. Watch the training. Right? Replace us with Netflix just for a little bit. Watch the training. Okay. There's so much knowledge there. People don't watch the training. I get a report on the viewership on our videos. It's like 500,000 people clicked on the video, average watch time 2 minutes. 2 minutes for a 1 hour presentation. What's going on? Right? It's not that bad, but you get my point. Right? People just don't do it. Whether it's, I don't know, data problems or they don't see value in it, I don't know what it is. But you don't have to be those people. Don't be those people. Be the person that watches and tries to gain value and knowledge out of the training that we do. So go check it out. There's a lot of value there. For your mobile app, make sure you've got the YouTube app downloaded onto your phone. That'll help you. Then if you click on the menu button over there, that little hamburger menu, that's what the menu looks like. So preferences, you can go edit your preferences, my account. Your products will be listed there. So if you own one of the products, that's what it looks like. It just says Access Wealth. If you don't own one of the products, so if you didn't own Wealth Points and Wealth Guard, it'll say add Wealth Points, add Wealth Guard. So you have the opportunity to add products. You might cancel a product and want to change products, so you can do it in your app. And then if you've had a product in the past, so what happens is, and we have this a lot, is that people become wealth engineers and then they fall out for whatever reason. And then a year later, right, they cancel their product or they didn't pay their debit or whatever, so they're not even paying for a product. And then a year later they go, oh, I want to get back in, because they see their mate now suddenly going to Mauritius. Right, that's usually the case. And they're like, no, I want to become a wealth engineer again. All they have to do is log into their app. It'll say reinstate. So it'll say reinstate Access Wealth. You click on that, it just confirms your bank details, and bang, you're in the system. You can start building your channel like that. All right, so be aware of that. You can edit your profile, my account details, it's all over there. So everything's reflected in the menu. All right, so that's the app. There's a lot more to the app. We've got an entire dev seminar on the app. So go watch it if you want to get into the nuts and bolts of every single aspect of the app. But that'll get you started.
Rob, just in terms of adding a new wealth engineer, I've found that if I get halfway through the app, and let's say it cancels or something, there's no way of...
What do you mean it cancels?
Well,
it stops working or what? What do you mean?
There is a place where I can't put the person's first name in. And maybe that's my phone and not the app. I'm not sure. But what happens is I can't add someone as a new wealth engineer from my app from my phone. So I just, every time I try it, a new application just starts to. So I've got like 4 or 5 new applications. There's no ways of getting rid of that unless I...
No, you can't get rid of them. You just swipe. So if you swipe left on that application, the delete button will come up.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah. So you can delete those, no problem. But if you're having an issue with the app, send us an email, info@DuePoint.net. We'll send it to the developers. Like I say, we are constantly working on the application. We pay those developers a bloody fortune every month. They must do some work and get it working. But it's a mission because there's so many different handsets out there. I used to be involved in mobile development. It's a nightmare because you've got so many platforms you're trying to. Any other questions around the app? Even around the qualifying rules? Yes? Ooh. Yeah, close.
My question is,
yes.
I received an email to add my profile, like my ID and everything.
Yeah.
I tried with my phone because sometimes I'm very busy to go on computer and everything, but I can't find way to do it. So how can I do it?
Okay, I'll look for you afterwards, but basically, so that must be specific to family wealth. Yeah. Did you take out family wealth? Okay, so the requirement on family wealth after the fact is that you have to upload certain documents, but we'll help you with that afterwards. I'll check. Like I said, every phone is different, right? We've got different issues. But generally, they should all work, or majority at least. Okay, so let's get on to expectations. Slow versus fast. Who wants to build slow? No one puts their hands up. Who wants to build fast? Everyone puts their hands up, right? Everyone's lying to themselves. Let's address this. All right. So expectations. Now, this is very important. So this is twofold. But the point of going through expectations is actually to manage your emotional state, right? Almost like children, trying to manage the toddlers. Because this is a very emotional business. It is very emotional. It can be very tiresome because it's a volunteer business, for one, right? So you're trying to get people who have volunteered into the business. I would love to give people written warnings when they do things I don't agree with. We can't do that. We have to try to be nice to everyone. We have to try to foster a culture where people do what we think is the best for our channels and that, but it doesn't always happen or that easily. So we're going to go through the expectations. This is almost like forecasting. If you're part of any business, you will know that big businesses always rely on forecasting. So us as a business, I know how much business we're writing next month, right? I know it. I've got statistics on it. We've got a pattern over many years that says typically in January, business goes down. People don't have money. More people default on their debit orders over January than any other month, right? And so I've got all this forecasting. It allows me to plan and to budget for next month, to prepare for next month. And any good business uses forecasting to their benefit. And you can do exactly the same thing as a wealth engineer. So we've got a lot of data that tells us what you can expect when you're trying to build this business. This data is based on network marketing as well as DuePoint business. So it goes like this, starts like this. Imagine you could fill this room with 100 people, right? So if you've gone and spoken to enough people where 100 have agreed to come spend an hour listening to Rob or Brendan up on stage, right? So we started with 100. 100 is an easy number. We can see it as a percentage. The question is, out of the 100 that come sit down in front of an hour presentation, what ratio, what percentage of people will say yes and how many will say no to the business proposition? Now, I've got forecasting on my side. I know. This is why I'm telling you. I want you to know, right? So you might have an idea in your head. Just think about it quickly. Grab a number in your head and think, I think it would be this, right? And we'll see how far you're off. General statistics. 65% say no, right? You'd say to those 65 people, get out. Right? You can't. You've got to be nice to everybody. Right? 35 say yes, that's fine. But the 65 that say no, practically, so we talk about managing emotions, right? Because you don't fill the room with 100 people. You're going from door to door. You're speaking to a couple of people there, and statistically, you might be unlucky. The first 30 people that you speak to might be the no's. Statistically, right? It's like rolling a dice and you get 3 ones in a row. Right, but over time, that ratio of 1s to 6s will average out over time, statistically. But you have chance of rolling the 3 ones in a row. The same in our business. We had a lady today Shame, she's a bit unlucky. Lovely lady, Renee. She's down in Mayton. She's a real estate sales lady, and she told us a story when she first started getting involved in DuePoint. Fortunately, her business has geared her up really well for prospecting, because in real estate, you're basically just phoning lists, right? Trying to buy houses, sell houses, get people interested. And she typically in a day, in her business day, will phone 20 people just to canvas. And so she said, well, for DuePoint, I'll do the same thing. No problem. She's got a list already. She's got a contact list over the last 20 years. She says she's got like 2,000 people on the contact list. She'll phone 30 people a day. And the one day she phoned 30 people, and all 30 told her to go away. All 30! All 30! She spent the whole day phoning people, at least the morning. So she sits at home at the dining room table, she makes her phone calls. All 30 said no, and made her so depressed. She says she moaned to her husband that everyone had said no. She didn't get one single appointment out of anyone. She went and lay on the bed, moped a little bit, and whether I believe this or not, she said she actually went to turn on a DuePoint training video, right? And she watched the video, and it inspired her a little bit. And she said, you know what, I'm not going to end the day with 30 no's. I'm going to phone 5 more people. And the next 5 people she phoned, she got 4 appointments out of the 5. See how lopsided those dice were for her, right? So the question is, what's the value of telling you this? The value of telling you this is that you're going to expect more no's than you get yeses. If you become a product of your circumstance, if you allow your circumstance to dictate your emotion and allow your emotion to dictate your actions after that, well then someone can say to you, oh, you did get 30 no's. That business doesn't work, or you're just really not good at it. You should just quit, right? And that's reasonable. But if I say to you, no, it's not like that. Statistically, for everybody, there's still 35% yeses. You were just unlucky that day. And if you can connect with that reality, then you go, okay, you make the adult decision, you go, no, I'm not going to let it affect me. I'll keep calling, and statistically, I'll start getting the yeses. So be prepared for these numbers, right? It is for everybody. You're not special. You're not more unlucky than anyone else. We're all in the same boat. If you go speak to the very experienced wealth engineers, they will tell you, you have to develop a thick skin, all right, to do this business. So out of those few 35 that say yes, those people will go out and they will bring in a certain amount of business for you, all right? But not all, unfortunately. So the news gets worse. The ratio gets smaller. Because out of the 35 that said yes, only 5 will actually bother doing anything. Think about that, practically again. Imagine you threw a birthday party for yourself, and 35 people arrived and only 5 bought you presents. That's depressing, right? You'd be like, these aren't my friends. Wouldn't you? In our business, you get 35 that say yes. Oh, you're so ecstatic about 35 people that said yes. They want to become wealth engineers. You think, oh, I'm doing well in this business. You start a little WhatsApp group, because that's what we like to do. We start our WhatsApp group for DuePoint. We call ourselves, give yourself a team name, right? The lions, the eagles, the dragons, the phoenixes, whatever you want to call them. You're very excited. Everyone's going to change their lives. You're all going to go to Mauritius together. And then you realize there's only 5 people bothering to do anything. The other 30, they don't even reply to you on WhatsApp. They're doing nothing. 30, and you think, oh, this business doesn't work. Look, I mean, these people just don't do anything. The market is dead. That's what you say to yourself, right? I'm saying to you, for the last 100 years, people involved in referral marketing have experienced exactly the same statistic. You are not special. Success is still born out of these little numbers. This is where we find the success. This is the gold in the ton of ore. Don't get sidetracked by these big numbers here. Know that you're only going to get 5 people out the 100 that you introduce to DuePoint that are going to build your business. But they are going to build your business with you, right? You have suddenly gained leverage, power duplication, because they will bring in money for you. And out of the 5, out of the 100, the 5 that result, there will be 1 person that builds more than you can build on your own. That's your diamond, right? So we look at Marsha and Ruloff. Remember Marsha and Ruloff from the intro presentation? I said they got a rank 1. They got a rank 9 on their first point. That's Donnie. Donnie has made many people rich in this business because he works relentlessly. Marsha and Ruloff found Donnie. He was their 1 in 100. He went out and connected over 1,000 people into their business, right? How much easier does that make your life? So now we know this is the expectation. You have to knock on the 100 doors. You have to knock on the 100 doors. People will say no to you. They will insult you. They will be detractors in what you're trying to achieve. They never just say, no, thanks for your time. They say, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Even your family will say that to you. They'll say, you're wasting your time. Those businesses don't work. They've been around forever. They don't work. They're just there to steal your money, right? You will have to endure that. That's why I say you have to have a thick skin. But if you are empowered with this knowledge of what to expect, you'll be able to endure it more easily. So time and numbers. Okay. So now that we've got that out the way, how much money do you aspire to earn in this business? I hope that some of you have set some short-term goals in the business. Short-term goals being anything from, the next 3 to 6 months to the next 5 years. So let's take a look at how much activity. This is your activity. This is how many people you're connecting every single month, right? This is how much you can earn. So if you want to earn 10,000 Rand in 4 years, I actually don't even look at these two columns, to be honest. This is connecting one person every 2 months, one person a month. You're treading water at that activity level. So theoretically, we can say, well, it's just going to take you a lot longer to get where you are. Your emotions will overcome you before you get to that point. I'm telling you now, if you're connecting one person every 2 months, you're not engaged, you're going to be out. You're going to be out, all right? So don't look at these two. Let's start here. 2 people a month, right? 2 people a month, 2,500 Rand after 6 months. You want to get to 10,000 Rand a month. It's going to take you about a year to get to. If you want to do it faster, all right, so do it faster. Connect one person a week. Connect one person a week, you'll get to 10,000 Rand in 6 months. All right? Let this become a guiding principle to your expectations again. Right? No one's going to be a millionaire by Christmas. 100,000 Rand a month? I mean, jeepers, you can do that in 2 years. Right? You only have to connect 5 people a month. There's this misinformation that in network marketing, you've got to connect thousands of people. You've got to just bring in people and people and people to have success. That's not true. Our business is based on the success of very little numbers, right? You need to focus more on quality and being constantly engaged. So when I say make a decision about this business, you're going to decide, I hope, that you will be engaged in this business for a couple of hours every single week without fail. Because the cost, because our business and the success in a business like this is based on the compounding effect. So in other words, the power of duplication, right? It means that you stand to lose a lot more when you become disengaged with the business. You understand what I mean? So if you were in training this morning, you can go watch the training we did this morning. Go to the slide that says the cost of apathy or whatever. It'll tell you that if you spend only 75% of the year working, so let's say you decide you're going to do 2 people a month, right? And over November, December, and January, you get lazy. Right? We all get a little bit lazy. The sun's out. We start becoming distracted by all these other things over summer, or you've had a tough year and it all comes to a kind of close at the end of the year, and people get lazy over that time of the year. And so you decide, well, that's not so bad. I've still worked 75% of the year. Because our effect is compounding in the business, if you do that every year for 5 years, it actually results in the fact that your earnings, your returns after 5 years will be 70% less than what it was if you had worked those 3 months. So even though you've worked 25% less, it has a 70% negative effect on your returns. Be aware of that, right? So for me, what I want people to do is engage realistically with what they can sacrifice to do this business. Do not overwhelm yourself. Don't get too excited by earning too much money too soon, because you place too much burden on yourself. It's not sustainable. Just go. Like every Saturday morning is DuePoint. And just try stick to that, right? Or twice a week, whatever it looks like for you. Get it into your schedule. Fit it in so it fits in neatly. It mustn't be a burden, because I need you to do this business for the next 20 years. All right, so now you understand the expectation in the business, the numbers in the business. What to do, connect people with DuePoint. That's the wonderful thing about our business, is that we're not product-centric, right? You don't have to worry about products. In other businesses, you've got to have a boot full of products and become a specialist on the product and know how to demonstrate the product and worry about the expiry date on the products that you bought. And you constantly have to buy products every month, right? And they're typically arbitrary products. They are they're bolstering consumerism, which is the root of all our bloody issues in the country, is consumerism, right? So it's a great thing that you only have to connect people to DuePoint, to the business opportunity. Always talk wealth. It's one of the strongest points of DuePoint is that we are wealth focused here at DuePoint. Use the tools, so just become a professional with the tools that we use. It's not too complicated. Get started now. Again, that cost of apathy, the cost of just waiting is more than you know. It's more than you know. Get engaged as quickly as possible, plug into the system, know everything that's available from a support point of view, become an expert at the app, watch all the training properly, 60 minutes, not 2 minutes. Marry DuePoint's calendar to your own. Our calendar is very regular. Once you know the calendar, you know the calendar, but be aware of it all the time. So if you're engaged in DuePoint all the time, you know, that'll become easy. And that's it. Any questions? Ooh. Ladies? Don't be shy. Open the floodgates.
Okay, I'd like to find out, I've got people in the Eastern Cape. I know here at DuePoint, you're saying we must not explain or, what's the word?
Talk about products.
Talk about the products.
Yeah.
And you send videos, you send live streams, you send everything. And they still say, please give us more information about the business. What
about
do you
the
tell
business or the products?
about the products or business? What do you say to them?
Okay. So that's a constant question because we've all been exposed to businesses that are so product focused. So when I say to you, come join this business, people are like, what's the business about? And you're like, no, I'm not going to tell you about the products. So it goes like this. And often the question arrives with people outside of head office. What do I tell them? So first thing you've got to understand in our business is that DuePoint is split in two. We are split in two. We've got the product side, and you only engage in the product side when you decide to take a product. The business side is a completely separate entity to our financial business, right? The business side is us just extending business opportunities to members of the public to help us grow our business. And so when you go speak to people about the business opportunity, they will always ask you about the products. What is the products, right? Because they feel that for them to join, yes, they've got to become a product owner. It's important for them to know about the products. 100%, right? Won't argue with that. But none of the wealth engineers are licensed to talk about products. So from a regulatory point of view, you're not allowed to talk about products, right? So that's a legal reason why you're not allowed to tell someone about the product. But how do you still answer the question? You answer the question by saying, I'm not licensed to talk about the products. It's a financial business. What they're trying to do is they're trying to establish a reason to say yes to you or to say no to you. That's why they're asking you the question, right? They're trying to deem, is the product worth it? Do I need the product, right? If I don't, then go away. Leave me alone, right? Your job is to get them to trust you, to make the decision, yes, this is something I want to look at. And so you need to draw their attention to the business opportunity. You can deflect the product question by saying, give me an hour of your time. Not even. We've got a 15-minute intro presentation, if you're aware of it, on our YouTube channel. They don't have to sit in the 45-minute version, but you'll say to them, if you've got 45 minutes of your life, listen to the business presentation. There is a licensed key individual that will tell you about the products, right? But most of the presentation is focused around the business opportunity because the business opportunity offers 1,000-fold the benefit than what the product could. You think about it, the investment product. The investment product costs you 324 Rand a month. Let's say you paid 2,724 Rand, right? That allows you to put 2,500 Rand into that investment every single month, right? And now you've got 30,000 Rand being invested into the investment product every month, every year. And let's say that a fund does really well. Let's say the fund performs at 10% annually, right? That's really good. And now you've made 3,000 Rand on your money. DuePoint, the business opportunity, can do that in a month by month 7. So why would you be more worried and focused and concerned about the benefit of the product rather than the benefit of the business? It is your job to get them to shift their focus. It's a difficult thing. So that's the illustration that I often come up with. I say, we will tell you about the product. Rob and Brendan will tell you about the product. You can go to the website. There's information about the product. There's a half-an-hour presentation on each product on the website. But I'm not trying to get you to look at the products. I want you to look at the business opportunity, because the business opportunity is what requires real sacrifice. That's the decision you need to make. The product's just a little decision, right? And so when they keep asking you about product, you tell them, go look on the website. You can take a screenshot of the website and send it to them. So there's all the information. It's not complicated. The products aren't complex. They're designed to be straightforward products. But remember, always, your job as a wealth engineer is to get their focus to turn to the business opportunity. If they become fixed on the product, you're wasting your time. If they keep staying on the product, you're wasting your time. You are not being effective in moving them to shift their focus on the business opportunity. Because that's where their need, that's where the necessity lies. The necessity lies in people being able to make money. That's the economy that we're living in today, right? And that's where you can improve on, right? If you can get your pitch right to get people to go, oh, okay, geez, this business opportunity sounds great. You can tell them it's not a Mickey Mouse company, 70-year-old business, listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange, regulated, audited. They've been in business for 2.5 years. They've got people already at rank 11, people driving around in cars that they never had to pay for, right? Just come look at the opportunity. I'm asking you for 45 minutes of your life. Don't worry about whether they're going to say yes or no afterwards. You're going to have 65 say no, 35 will say yes. Don't worry. Just get your pitch right so you can get them in front of the presentation. That is the challenge. Get them in front of the presentation. That's all you have to worry about. Any more questions? No. Is everyone taking holiday in December? Rob's asking a trick question. No, we're going to be working DuePoint. You can do this while you're on holiday. Patrick at the last rank 9 trip signed up the flight attendant, the person baggage control. They're ruthless. If you want to watch people do prospecting, go watch Patrick and Pumi. Man, they'll sign up anyone. The waiter in Mauritius, I was like, Pat, you've got to be South African. No, he's got family in South Africa. He's going to get the whole family to join. Right? Be ruthless. Reinvent yourself. Cool, guys. Good luck. Thanks. Yeah. Yes.